All right. Good afternoon, Rebecca. How are you today?
I'm well, thank you. Nice to meet you, Danielle.
Yes, nice to meet with you and talk with you today a little bit and record this part of the interview. Your resume is just amazing. You've got some really great experience. You go from the travel to support to executive support, admin work. You've got a really good variety of skills on your resume. So, why don't we go ahead and why don't you tell me a little bit about what you were doing with the Schwann's company and perhaps why that position ended? Because I feel like that's worth noting.
Of course. I worked with Schwann's for 2.5 years, and recently they just merged with another large food corporation, whereas they were starting to lay off people, and I was one of the ones that did not make it through the layoff process. I absolutely have nothing bad to say about them. They were an amazing company to work for, and I would still be there to this day if I could. Throughout my journey with Schwann's, I was brought in as a travel agent. I was going to say, but I did mostly support pretty much anybody on the executive level with anything that they needed. I was a jack of all trades per se. Any travel related stuff that they needed, if they were planning corporate events, I did that. If they just needed a flight, I was doing that. Proofreading, putting together different notes, answering phone calls while their true executive admin was out on the town, doing whatever they needed to do. I was like a backup support. I did a little bit of everything.
All right. And what were they using, like a proprietary system that, or like a CRM that you were working in?
The only system that I mainly worked in was the travel system, and that was Sabre. We did use Concur and Salesforce for other things, but not, on a day-to-day basis. That was more on just the travel side. So I didn't get to use any of the other CRMs because I was just doing that as like a backup support for anybody else.
Okay, gotcha. And what about your computer skills, like Microsoft Office, typing? How would you rate yourself?
I wouldn't say I'm an expert level because I would never say that I'm perfect. I would definitely say I'm more on the advanced side. I can absolutely, hold my own on any of that. You almost need to be in this world nowadays, otherwise it leaves you behind. But
Mm-hmm.
to say there's always room for improvement, and I always look for that improvement.
Sure, absolutely. And then lots of travel, lots of hospitality. So I think it goes without saying that you have, excellent customer service
Yes.
skills, just in our chats here. Um, and so at this point in time, facing a layoff, you're looking for an office position here locally. You have the travel experience. So I would say more towards an EA position of
Mhm.
supporting someone else. Now, you mentioned that you were doing that as a backup. For any of the other positions, have you supported a C-suite executive or executives directly?
Yes. Well, with American Express, I was on two different accounts when I worked for them. Both of them were VIP level. One was a strictly C-suite. We were a dedicated line to them, and I worked on theirs for about 2.5, maybe 3 years. I honestly don't remember. And then the one that was on the VIP, it was like a concierge level. So we were dealing with mostly the EAs of of the executives. We were dealing with them, but it was the same level of white glove service with them.
Mhm.
And I did want to say, like, the way that I guess I worded it with Schwann's, it made it sound like I was doing it as a backup, but like they were each dedicated, they each had their own dedicated executive assistant, but we were doing all of the same stuff. So I wasn't technically their executive assistant, but I dealt with 7 different executives. We were all supporting them, together. So it wasn't like I was assigned to just John Smith. I was assigned to John Smith, this person, this person, this person, and this person. So we didn't have a dedicated person. So I did support the executive level. I guess my wording was not very good on that. And I wasn't a
I
backup.
appreciate you clarifying that. I actually have a background in travel and hospitality, and I know all about booking air and all the different pieces that go into that. So I do want to make a note of that, that is not an easy job. It's lots of logistics and planning and, looking at, the best options and such. It's not like when you do like a point and click online. It's much more so.
Correct. Yeah, we were using the airline system, so we were tied right into the airlines, and we had private jets with the company, so we were booking the private jets, and we did so much international travel. So it's time consuming. It really is, and making sure they have the right visas to get into the countries and all that stuff. So yeah, people do, unfortunately, they think that, oh, that's so easy. It's like, it's really not. It's a lot harder than it sounds.
Sure, yeah, lots of multitasking and
Yes.
scheduling and such. So, I wanted to make sure that we pointed that out. All right, well, Rebecca, I'm going to go ahead and pause this part of the interview, but don't go anywhere. We got a few more things to chit chat about. Go ahead and pause this.